Hey guys, Gina back here again to what am I doing? Narrating a video. I started thinking I was going to make a very fall kind of layout, and then, well, you'll see what happens. So, I'm using some liquid watercolor here. I can't remember who made them. Gosh, what is with me? I'm gonna have to start writing this stuff down again. I used to, write every little thing I used down, and then I stopped writing anything down, and now I can't remember. So, I wanted to make a fall layout, and as you can see, these colors are not looking very fall-like. They're much too bright. So, I changed my mind. Or I'm gonna continue like I thought. Okay, I need a better red, right? So they're Dr. Martin's liquid watercolors. I just remembered that, it just came into my brain. I think that's the name anyway. It's pretty close. So I keep playing around with this sort of rainbow pattern I have going on, and rainbow was not at all. You see that brown in the middle? It's supposed to be orange. This was not at all what I was going for when I started this, but you know what? It's okay, because we're going to do something and it's going to be fine. And actually, I started making this layout thinking about one photo, and then I had to completely backtrack after it's all done and choose another photo. So I'm going to dry this up with my heat tool, and there's a lot of water on this paper, so it's taking a little bit to dry, and of course I'm impatient, so I'm going to go put all that stuff away now. Okay, that's where I went. I'm going to put it all away. And then I'm going to go grab my gesso, I think is actually what I'm doing here. Maybe. Yeah, here it is. So I pulled out the gesso because I wanted to just lighten these colors up a little bit. And guess what happens to watercolor when you get more water on it? Or more liquid? Yeah, it reacts. So you see how it's kind of now very muted, which I wanted to mute it down. That's not the issue, but the issue is that yeah, it reacted to the gesso. So here's where we're going to make a decision to change up what we were doing here. And so I'm going to dry all the gesso, and that color is going to come back through, which actually in the end turns out pretty nice. I'm actually quite happy with this background. Not what I was that's the picture that you've seen that layout already for that photo. That's the picture I was going to scrapbook. So I wanted it to be very very dark, not dark, but very primary kind of colors. I'm using watercolor paper here, which is why I didn't pre-treat the paper. It's a Cassin, something like that, pad, and so it comes in a pad, and it's, so that's why the paper didn't get very warped while I was adding the water and all to it, because it's already heavy, watercolor paper, and it's in that pad kind of thing. So it did good about not getting warped. The final layout is a little warped, but it'll go in a page protector and it'll be fine. I had pulled scraps for this photo already when I decided that I was going to scrapbook it. I had already gone through my scrap pile and found papers that I wanted to use with it. So lucky for me, this background that is Carolyn Doobie uses the word oops, and she uses it as an acronym for talking about other possibilities, which is, great. So you saw me write something on the back of that. When I print my photos, I write the date on the back of it so that when I go to scrapbook, I know what date it was. But I have a tendency to adhere the photo down and then forget that the date was on the back. So I just flipped the layout over and added that date to the back of the layout, so that the back of the 12 by 12 paper, so that I knew once I was done what the date was. So here I'm just working on my paper layers. I'm using just a bunch of old scraps. Like some of it is I can tell you some of it is Ellie Studio. I love Ellie Studio paper. But some of it is Ellie Studio, and then some of it I think is my mind's eye. But don't quote me, because I know for a fact that some of it is Ellie Studio. Oh, you know what? The other ones is not. It's not My Mind's Eye. It's Webster's Pages. It's an Alison Kreft collection for Webster's Pages. So, still working on these layouts. Once the layers are done, the rest of this layout, even though it still takes quite a bit of time, is actually pretty easy. So I decide that I want to add some lace trim behind the photo. So I'm trying a new glue here, and it actually worked out quite well. I don't remember. It's like an Elmer's glue, I think. I mean, it is just white multi-purpose glue. I bought it at Target, and it works actually pretty well, and it dries clear, which is great because you know, I don't want anyone to see the glue underneath that lace, but so it works out pretty good. I like it. Still not my favorite. I haven't found a favorite yet. Instead of cutting that lace off, I'm actually going to tuck it behind on the other side of the layout, because sometimes it'll fray if you know, cut it at the ends, and sometimes that's what I want, but not in this particular case. So, and then I'm going to I thought about running some string along underneath the lace, but I couldn't get it to lay the way I wanted, so I decided to just wrap it a bit around the left-hand corner of the lower left-hand corner of this photo, and as it turns out, you're going to see very little of this lace. Only at the top left-hand corner there are you going to see it. The rest of it I'm going to cover up with flowers. So this is like I said in another video, I shop in my scrapbooking room before I start a layout, and I use this wood tray that I got at Michael's to just kind of put my supplies that I think I might use in. So in that I pulled, these are confetti sequins up there that I don't use at all. And I think I must have gone, yeah, I went to find some other things. So I pulled some flare, and then I went away. And then because it was a dance thing, I really wanted to use this wood veneer that I got at Michael's, like in, you know, the cut wood section, but it didn't work. So I couldn't get it to lay where I wanted it to. So I will definitely keep that to use on a future layout. I have 2 dancers in the family, so that will work. But here I'm just playing around with a lot of Prima flowers to determine what I'm going to do for embellishment. And my niece in this photo, this was her first dance recital, and she's very girly, so I quite like how sort of this layout turns out to be pretty girly, and I'm very happy with that, the way it is. I'm using one of those Tim Holtz metal, not in that position where I had it. It's like one of those metal frames things. It says, "Remember to keep some room in your heart for the unimaginable." And then just playing with more Prima flowers. I used to not use flowers on my layouts at all, and then I don't know what happened. Like, flowers are my new thing. I love them, so I've been using them a lot. But there's some flare, and you're going to see here, I'm just going to play a lot with I'm cutting up some more string, and I don't know why. Oh, because I thought I was going to... I don't do this either. Nope, it goes away. I'm not one of those people who can get that string to sit on the layout and work the way... You know, I just can't get it to look the way I want it to. Deliberately messy or something like that. That's a basket of stuff I bought at a flea market. And now we're just going to go back to the ever-present drawer of stuff. And these are really weird. I found these little sort of plastic, they're not plastic, I don't know what you would call it, they're puffy stickers. And honest to goodness, they say, "Let's dance." I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I'm just pulling a bunch of stuff out of that drawer to figure out what I'm going to embellish this page with, because like I said, I'm really trying to use up what's in that drawer before I use anything else. So if it works, I want to use it. So I just pulled out some things that I thought might work. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where we're going to put everything. And so I was playing around with the idea of that little heart clip up there in the upper left-hand corner, but then all of that goes away. I change all of that. None of that stays up there. I am going to put some of these flowers down here. At some point, I'm going to pick up an adhesive and start laying some of this stuff down. And at this point, I'm pretty happy with how those flowers are. So, you know, they haven't moved in a while. Here's a little felt butterfly. And here, that's that metal tag from Tim Holtz. And now we're going to get to the part where we're actually going to commit and start putting some of these things down. So those white flowers, I don't know where they came from. They're this like silky material. They're very cool, and they've been in that drawer for ages. So I was very happy to get them out of that drawer and put them on this page. And then so the flowers, the butterfly, I put flare on there. What else we got? A button. And then it's just a matter of just, going around, and you guys know, I mean, play with it until it works out, right? So there I found a place for that little clip, that little heart button clip. And now I need some dimensional adhesive or some dimension behind this metal piece because it's sitting on top of some other pieces like the. I'm still trying to get that dancer to work, but I can't get her to work. But some other pieces on the layout, so I put that up on some cardboard just to give it some dimension. And then there's that Let's Dance, which I thought was so appropriate. I had no idea it was even in there. So here's me. I was super happy. Here's some more Prima flowers coming out to play. I felt like I needed some hot pink down in that lower left-hand corner, so I cut up this sort of, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a puffy sticker. I cut it in half so I could use it on both sides of that cluster. It was a square with like a little rhinestone in the middle from Making Memories something a million years ago. So I added that, and then I'm going to use some of these acrylic shapes that came in a kit. I used too much glue on that acrylic shape, so I just cut a piece of cardboard off to wipe some of that off, and then I still got it. I forget that this glue, it's like, stop playing with it. It dries clear, you're not going to see it, leave it alone. But I tend to forget that, so it's always, I'm trying to wipe it away when I don't have to because it's not going to show up anyway. Here's another little flare. It's got a heart on it. I think that flare is from the Click Kits. And then I'm looking at these breads. They're not going to work, but I know that the layout definitely needs more than what's on it. Like, I'm not happy with it yet. So it's definitely going to get more. There's the little branding strip from the bottom of one of those Ellie Studio papers. So I'm going to sneak that up underneath that lace trim. Yeah, I thought there I was going to cut that off. Like, I thought, okay, I'm going to just cut it, but the trim. And then I'm like, you can't do that because it's going to fray, and I didn't want it to fray. So I'll use something. I'm sure it's in the video later on. Oh, here, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to use hot glue. I'm going to put it down, and then I'm just going to put a piece of paper over top of it, and that will hold it securely. It's not going to go anywhere. So that's what I decided to do. Now, getting it in the page protector with those little pieces of paper, because I'll forget they're there, and I'll put it in the page protector, and it'll get caught on everything. But anyway, so here's I'm just thinking, like, I don't know what else to do. And then I decided, it's all done. So here you go. That's the final look at the layout. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.